In 1733, Benjamin Franklin visited Boston. He observed the city's fire preservation methods and he was impressed. So 2 years later, he wrote about it. He said, "An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure." And so the famous adage was born. But over time, it has changed in two ways. One, it is less verbose. We say prevention is better than cure. And two, it doesn't just reference fires. The quote is usually about health. It talks about disease prevention. And it may be cliched, but today we urge you to think about it. Because today is World Obesity Day. Despite the intensifying fight against obesity, the disease is hurting more people than ever before. Between 1990 and 2022, the obesity rate has doubled in women, tripled in men, and quadrupled among children. Now, more than 1 billion people the world over are living with obesity. More than 1 billion. This includes almost 880 million adults and 159 million children. So the picture is quite clear. We are struggling with a global obesity crisis. And this is not just about one disease. Obesity is not just about excessive fat accumulation. It impacts most body systems. It leads to a range of other problems like type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, strokes, even cancer. But despite all the science, we don't have a surefire cure for obesity. Though many say they've found a ray of hope in weight loss drugs, their advent is being heralded as momentous. Obesity drugs are all the rage. They become household names like Novo Nordisk's Wegovy or Eli Lilly's Zepbound. Obesity drugs are expected to have 70 million users by 2028, 70 million users, and a market worth $80 billion by 2030. But let's take a step back and ask an important question here. Are weight loss drugs really the solution? Or are they more noise and less substance? Recently, the World Health Organization weighed in. It said these drugs are an important tool, but they're not the solution to obesity. And here's why. For starters, weight loss drugs are not a long-term solution. Many users gain the weight back when they stop taking these drugs. And when they do take these drugs, other issues crop up like stomach paralysis, inflamed pancreas, bowel obstructions, kidney problems, increased heart rate, suicidal thoughts, changes in vision, nausea, diarrhea, fatigue. So there's a heavy price to pay. And speaking of price, weight loss drugs are also fueling inequality. You see, obesity is a complex disease. It affects people across nations. But ultimately, it hurts mostly the poor. It hurts them more. Let me show you some numbers. You know that global numbers for obesity are on the rise, but did you know that they have leveled off in some big economies like in India? It is the 19th lowest country for obesity among women and 21st lowest for men. Similarly, China is 11th lowest for women, and these are outliers, of course. For example, the US has the 10th highest obesity rate for men. But in general, obesity has seen a decline in some rich nations and a rapid increase in poorer countries, the low and middle income nations. The highest rates of obesity are in Tonga, American Samoa, and Nauru. In these countries, 70 to 80% of adults live with obesity. In the coming years, the greatest increases will be in low-income African and Asian nations. So the trajectory is quite clear. The poor are already vulnerable. Now, weight loss drugs are making it worse. In countries where obesity drugs are not available, people are buying them from online black markets and putting their health at risk. And where the drugs are available, many cannot afford them. 1 month's supply of these drugs costs anywhere between $900 and $1,500. So people are looking for alternatives, like budget Ozempic. Ozempic is used to treat type 2 diabetes. It is also used as a weight loss drug. But budget Ozempic is not actually Ozempic at all. It refers to laxatives. It is an unhealthy solution to an unhealthy problem. So weight loss drugs can be effective, at least in the short term. They can reduce weight and show immediate results. But so far, drugs have not been able to cure obesity because they're only playing catch-up. So how do we battle obesity? With policy changes right from the top, physical activity in schools, and restrictions on marketing for junk food. Because when it comes to obesity, unless weight loss drugs transform into magic pills, prevention will always be better than cure.